Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us this morning on In Your Fields with the Young. It's been a lot. It's been a while. I haven't been with you. Some circumstances and so forth. But listen, we're flying solo this morning. I'm flying solo. I don't have a co-host. Jay is not here that normally greets you, that says, bless up, bless up. And I don't know what else he says, but anyway, I'm flying solo this morning, and thank you so much for joining us. Didn't you enjoy the show last week, man? It was awesome. We had 4 guys here, and they were talking about food. They weren't talking about football. They were arguing about football. Okay, but it was good. And you had a lot of comments and so forth. I want to encourage you, press that subscribe button and log on, send the link to friends and family. I've got an exceptional, interesting guest on the show this morning. And I want you to put your comments. If you've got any questions, please put it down there and we're going to try our best to answer those questions. You are flying with the young. It's in your fields, and I know you're going to enjoy the show. I want you to welcome right now Caitlin Rooskrantz, and she hails all the way from Johannesburg, Gauteng, South Africa. Put your hands together. Yeah. Caitlin, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Man, it's been a long wait. And I anticipated this moment. I'm really excited. I'm glad that I have Caitlin in the studio. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well, thank you. And thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thanks so much, man. Caitlin, so you all the way from?
Florida.
Florida in the U.S.?
Oh.
Florida, yeah.
There, that's what you mean. Yeah, all the way from Tokyo.
Okay, all the way from Tokyo. Okay, cool. No, but you live in Florida.
Yeah.
Johannesburg. That's the West Rand. Yeah, on the West Rand and so forth. And we are so happy to have you with us. You know what? When you came in this morning, I won't tell everybody. I was just surprised. I was surprised of something, and I won't say what that was. You know what I'm saying? But because on television and on the cameras, you look so tall, but you're not actually that tall. But thank you so much, man, and it's really, really a blessing to have you here. We're gonna get Caitlin is a gymnast, and what do you do? Just tell us, what do you do?
So basically, I do artistic gymnastics. So that's gymnastics with the 4 different apparatus. So it has vault, bar, where you swing, beam, that balancing plank that everyone knows.
Okay.
And floor. So those are the 4 different apparatus, and I participate in all of them.
Okay. So you call that create what?
Artistic
gymnastics. Yeah. Artistic gymnastics. So we're gonna learn a lot here on the set this morning. We've got a South African representative in the studio, and we are so immensely proud of her. She's done exceptionally well, and we're here to celebrate whatever she's done and what she's achieved. And we'll get into that later. So tell me, Caitlin, how did this all start? Okay, before I go there, we've got a segment, and that JC normally does, but anyway, I'm going to do that. We've got a segment that we call the warm-up segment, right? Okay. So I'm not going to ask you to do the physical warm-up, but that's okay. What warm-up routine do you go through? Any small, just 1 or 2. I know there's quite a variety, but maybe 1 or 2 warm-up routines that you go through before you get into work.
Like into my competition?
Training. Yes, training, yeah.
So I think something typical that I can say. So we get to training, whether it be training or competition, and we roll out. So what that means is...
Okay, that sounds interesting.
You have like a foam roller. We have like fancy ones. We have electric ones. So then you you have to roll all your muscles out. It's like a pre-warm-up before you start warm-up.
Pre-warm-up?
Yeah, basically. So you have like a 15-minute rollout time where you have to roll out all your muscles from top to bottom. Yeah. And you do like a basic stretch, and then we always...
Do you do that yourself with the roller?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we do it ourselves, and then we start with a 5-minute run. Like it's a warm-up run, just to warm up your muscles, and then you go into like warm up. We have like a million warm ups. We've always done. Then you have like stretching warm up, and then you have like strength warm up, and we really have many. But
I suppose your stretching is not like the normal athlete stretching.
no.
Because I mean you're gonna have to be quite flexible for the type of stretching that you guys do, right?
Yeah, so our stretching involves a lot of overstretching. It's not like touching your toes, it's always
my
going past your
God.
toes or like that type of stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Phew, that sounds interesting. I don't know. Will I be able to stretch? Anyway, okay, so that's your rollout. That's a pre-warm up.
Yeah.
Then you do a run,
Yeah.
and then you do stretching.
Yeah, so like we'll have a stretching warm up and then like a strength warm up where you have to do strength exercises. And then sometimes you have a ballet warm up. Sometimes we have like a line warm up where you have to do things on the line, and we have many.
That's very interesting. It sounds good. It sounds good. So tell me, where did this all start? Gymnastics, you being a gymnast, where did this all start? So give us a little background.
So I like to, I think, tell everyone, I think gymnastics chose me.
Okay.
My parents came from very small towns in the Northwest,
Right.
Potch and stuff. So they didn't really know what gymnastics was. They weren't exposed to that. And
So your mom is from Promosa, Potchefstroom,
yes.
right? That's in the Northwest.
Yes.
Your dad hailed from Lichtenburg.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so they, I mean, grew up in very small towns, and gymnastics in South Africa is already so small. So,
Right.
I mean, now for like small communities like that, they not had a clue what gymnastics was.
Right.
So I was a very busy kid. They always told me I could never sit still. I gave them such like a hassle because if, I wasn't doing self-taught like flips off my bed, I was doing it into the pool. And
Oh my word.
at like 5 years old, it was not okay. And I think I gave them a lot of stress. They didn't know what to do with me.
And then also for a girl.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
right?
So I think, they were kind of stuck. But then when they moved to Johannesburg, they had friends that their friends had a daughter in gymnastics. So
Okay.
they suggested to my parents, like, why don't they take me to gym to start off? It can, just something to burn my energy that is
Right.
productive and
Yes.
in a more safer environment. type of
Basically,
thing.
basically in layman's terms, just get rid of the child, send it to gymnastics.
Basically, I mean, really now, but anyway,
Yeah.
so that's how. Then they decided to put me in, just
Okay.
as I think trial and error and see what happened, and it was like I think a love at first sight for me. From the minute I got into it, absolutely thrived. I loved it, and for me, growing up, once I started in gym, I never wanted to leave, and as I progressed, like gymnastics never felt like labored work for me.
Okay.
It came so naturally. And
What was the first gym? Where was the first gym that you were that you were signed to?
so I first started at Johannesburg Gymnastics Center when I was 6 years old.
Okay.
And then I stopped for like a year because then I moved to primary school in Parktown. So it
Okay.
was very far, and
Okay.
like it was a bit of a problem with my parents trying to drive me, every day and stuff. So I stopped for a while. I don't even think it was more than a year. And
Right.
then I wanted to start again. And then there was a gym in Parkhurst, I think it's North Stars,
Okay.
that I started at for like a year and a half maybe, and then I got to a point there where my coach at that time had felt like I'd reached their maximum capacity that they could take me to,
Okay.
and that she saw a lot of potential in me and wanted that to be developed. So she then decided to bring me back to Johannesburg Gymnastics Center.
Okay.
Yeah, and she
Right.
actually committed to for like over a year. She after school took me to gym because
Wow.
it was at that time that my dad just passed away, and my mom was like so overwhelmed with everything going on, so she couldn't take on still like taking
So
me
you
to gym.
let's just track back. Your dad passed away in 2010.
2010, I was 8.
Oh, so you were 8 years old. That was a traumatic experience.
Yeah.
Can you give me a little of that?
Yeah.
Is it okay?
Yeah. So
okay.
I'll give you a bit of an overview.
Okay.
Yeah, it was, I think, a very tragic passing, and it was hard. I mean, at 8 years old, I
cannot even
it
imagine.
was I know this is a word, but uncomprehendable. I didn't know how to deal with that.
Right,
For
right.
me, it was above my head of
Yes.
how do you even comprehend that. But yeah, I think, it all worked out the way it was supposed to, because it was also at that time that I was just getting into gym, and I was
Okay.
like really
Okay.
starting to think, like, realize the love I had for the sport. And me having gymnastics at that time in my life actually felt like it helped me deal with what I was feeling. I
Right.
didn't really know how to deal with any of that, but like, I think I expressed everything and got it all out in the gym.
So Caitlin, tell me, are you the only child?
No, I have an older brother.
You have an older brother, so
Yeah.
you have a sibling, so you two.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but we have quite a big age gap between us too. He's 10 years older than me.
Wow.
So at the time he was like 18 in matric.
That was also
Yeah, it
traumatic
was
for
very
him.
hard for him. So it was a rough year. So at that time, then going back, like, my coach at that time felt like, I needed to go back to Johannesburg Gymnastics Center, because it's been and currently is the best gym in the country. And she just felt like I needed to go back there. And my mom was like, she can't drive me every day there.
Right,
She cannot
right.
deal with that right
Yes,
now.
yes.
And my coach at that time offered to take me. She decided that
Wow.
she was going to take it upon herself that, I think I had training like maybe at that time like 4 times a week.
So I think, did your coach see the potential?
Yes.
Okay.
No, she did.
Okay.
And that's what it was all about, that she just felt that
So who's your coach?
at that time.
At that time it was?
Liesel.
Okay.
Talia. She actually immigrated like 2 years after to the US.
Okay.
After she like finished coaching me. So yeah, I absolutely loved her, and she did everything like that I needed. She did well for me, and I think for, like I said, over almost a year after school, she took me to training.
Right.
And then my mom just picked me up in the evening. So it was very nice, I think, to have that in my life at that time, and exactly what I needed. And yeah, and then I permanently got with Johannesburg Gymnastics Center, and then I started there under the head coach, Ilse Pulser.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, it's been a journey ever since. I picked up each year. I started, at that time I was 4 days a week. I picked up to 5. And by the time I was maybe 10, 11 years old, I was training 6 days a week.
Wow.
And
Wow.
so we picked up really fast. And
So training would last how long?
4.5 hours.
4.5 hours.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
6 days a week. 1 day of rest.
Sunday.
Wow. So tell me, you got into some competitions when you were little. What type of competitions? Are they national competitions or local competitions, provincial competitions? How does it all start?
So when you're at that level, because I started with level 1, and then when I moved back to JDC, they actually moved me to level 4 the next year.
Okay.
'Cause that's when they saw all this potential. But yeah, at that time, when you're still in like the levels program, your biggest competition is nationals, like gym
Right.
games, nationals. So you have to progress to nationals though. So you have
Okay.
like district champs. If you get, I think, a certain score, place within a certain ranking, then you move to provincials, and then you move to nationals. So
So you started out with artistic gymnastics?
yes, from
Okay.
the beginning.
From the beginning. Okay. What at that time, not now, at that time, what was your favorite apparatus?
I think at that time it was like everything. Yeah, literally though. I think, like, it's funny, but it literally, I think,
Yeah.
I try to explain to people that we at that age also, like, gymnastics is not that competitive. You are like
You're just enjoying yourself.
Yeah, you're more
Yeah.
there for like the nice leotards and the glitter and the medals, and
my word.
and learning flips, and all the competitions are fun, and
Yes.
that's what you're actually there for. And then you progress and you get older, and it gets more competitive, and you start getting injuries and all of that, and it's still fun, but it's not that fun anymore.
Right.
I mean, we started off as a huge group when I was like in level 1-4.
Right.
4-ish. We were almost a group of like 10, if not more. And out of that group, it is just.
You know what, Caitlin? I
two of
thought
us.
you were going to say A huge group. I thought you were going to say like 30,
No.
40 people.
This isn't soccer, sadly. I wish it was that many people, but that's where it comes in with the thing of like, there's gymnastics isn't out there enough. People don't even know that it exists.
Yes.
So, and a lot of people also have this perception that it's like the rich man's sport, and also for like the white people. I think
Right.
that's also that's the South African mentality.
Yes.
That it's not for us people of color. So
Okay.
it's the biggest your big groups are like 10 to 15. Maybe I'm reaching for 20, but like,
Whoa.
and then it like so many of them fall along the way. Like out of that big group,
Right.
who's left now from that group is Naveen and I.
So tell me, is it an expensive sport?
It is very expensive. I can't tell you.
Okay. So
serious.
you must bear with me because I can't fathom now how expensive it gets.
Yeah.
Just give me an idea in terms of what is needed. What makes it so expensive?
I can give you an endless list. But so to begin with, I mean, just things like, okay, your attire and stuff. Like, okay, I'm going to just give you like now at this time.
Okay.
Thing.
Okay.
So like your leotards and stuff, you need custom made, proper quality leotards. If I can give you just estimation.
So you can't go buy a leotard like Chinatown or something?
No. Just if you wanted to tear while you're training and in the competition arena, then go ahead. But
Okay.
it's a very certain material. It needs to fit a certain way because
Right.
it's very also small and it almost fits like a costume. And we do a lot of things where we split and stuff. It has to be fitting to your body shape.
Okay.
Because it's a deduction if your leotard like falls off or like goes in your bum. Or
Okay.
That's all a deduction. And you
Right,
can't
right,
have
right,
that.
right.
So like that leotard I'm wearing in that picture approximately is just maybe over $2,000.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, we usually have to have about like, every comp you have a new one and all of that. So that's just the leotard. Then
Okay.
you have your things like, so we wear grips. I think anyone actually, this is like gymnastics lingo
Okay,
now. But
okay.
so like we have things like grips and wrist guards. So wrist guards you use when you like tumble on the floor because we're always on our hands a lot.
Okay,
Like
okay.
in handstand and sometimes your wrists get really sore. So just to prevent wrist pain, we have to get wrist guards. Those are $1,000. And they
Okay.
wear out every year, so you have to replace them.
Right.
You have grips that you wear on bar when you swing.
Okay.
They like help you stay on the bar and make your hands not so sore. They're
Okay.
still sore, but yes, those are also like 1.5, and they wear out like every 6 to 9 months.
This is sounding more expensive than golf.
And that's not even a quarter of it. That's
Okay.
excluding like your competition fee, your diet, because we have to be on a specific diet.
Okay, so I was wondering about that.
Yeah.
So how does your diet look for a typical gymnast?
Yeah, so generally we don't like to use the word diet because diet
okay.
refers to the fact that it's like restricted and
Okay.
it's a lifestyle. That's what it is.
And you smile when you say that.
It is. It's a healthy lifestyle. And I think, there's this perception that like, you have to
Okay.
eat less and so you have to look good, especially because we're in leotards and you can always see how your body looks. But it's for us as gymnasts, also upcoming gymnasts growing up, as you've heard, we train 4.5 hours in a day.
Okay.
Like if my school day used to be school the whole morning, gym the whole afternoon. I had over a 12-hour day every day. And as like a 15-year-old, you need, the right things to fuel you to get through that day, especially when
Okay.
you're having really hectic training sessions. So we just ate healthy. So we focused a lot on carbs for energy, protein for your muscles, and
Yes.
I mean just a lot of fruit and vegetables. Like
So you don't do junk food.
I mean, I'm human, and
Yeah.
not gonna lie and say I don't, but
Now and then.
Yeah, we had, especially now where I am in my career, and like I've grown up, and I'm past that stage where I'm like still growing and
Yeah.
stuff. So it's easier for me now and then to have, some junk food if I feel like it, because also for me, we feel that it's about balance. Everything is about balance.
Right.
And if you want to always stay balanced, if you feel like a block of chocolate today, have one. It's
Okay.
about staying within portion size and control and stuff. So like I said, it's not that we're on like diets, but you just eat a balanced, healthy lifestyle.
But you have to be disciplined.
Yeah, no,
I
definitely.
mean, every sportswoman has to be disciplined.
Yes, no, definitely.
If you want to reach,
Yes.
the
if
heights.
you want to get to where we've gotten, and
Yeah.
especially like in season, you have to be fueling your body with the correct things, because our training sessions, like I said, are so hectic that if you're not feeding yourself the right things before training and all of that, you will not get through a training session.
Mm-hmm.
You will completely fall apart, and you need all the energy you can get.
So, Caitlin, moving from your high school career now, you at Parktown Girls, right? Parktown Girls, how did you manage in terms of navigating your weekly program? Because there's the school, they've got their demands, obviously the academic side of it, and then the gymnastics on the one hand, and your coach putting certain, I wouldn't say pressures, but there's certain expectations from you. How did you navigate that? Because we're speaking to potential gymnasts out there that maybe wants to take it as a career, like you've done. Because I must just reiterate this: you make us proud. You make us immensely proud. And so how do you navigate that?
Yeah, so that is, I think, one of the most challenging things that I had to deal with was the balance between my school and my gym, and especially. I think, like a lot of people know, for high-level athletes, not only gymnasts, but any athlete, usually they go, if you a high-level athlete, you'll usually go the route of homeschool, because it gives you a bit more time, flexibility. It kind of works around your sport, all of that.
Yes.
But I chose to go the normal public school route, actually solely because just some insight, but my dad actually was a teacher at Parktown Girls.
Okay.
So yeah,
Great.
my mom wanted me to go there after he passed away. So, and I also did want to go there. So I got into Parktown Girls, and like you said, like any other public high school, it has its demands, and it was a lot, to get through. But at the same time, we also had all these gym demands that we had. But I think because we've also been doing it together since I literally started primary school, you learn as you go older you learn the discipline, the time management and all of that. And especially, I think something that was very prominent for me was the first 2 years of high school, grade 8 to 9. Those were hard years in the sense that it was then already that I had to, instill like this discipline in myself.
Yes.
And tell myself, that I figured out then already. You try that procrastination, and you're like, no, I'll just, do it next week. But it will work for a child, someone that doesn't have a program like mine. But for someone who, like me, like I said, is training 6 days a week, 4.5 hours a day, and you're traveling in between. We've traveled like 2 to 3 times a year, every year. You have to utilize every bit of time you have, and you can't kind of let that slide. So I learned that in the first 2 years of my high school career, and I knew that if I was going to survive high school and get out in one piece, I needed to, make that a habit. And again, I'm not I am human, and I had my times where I also just was finished, or I did sometimes procrastinate, and it caught up with me. But for the most part of it, I had to be very disciplined. And that's something that also gymnastics as a whole taught me, was a lot of discipline.
And diligence.
And you have to stick to it. And I had a program in a week, and I knew that Monday to Friday I was at school, Monday to Saturday I was at gym, and the only free time I had was Saturday afternoon after training and Sunday. That was my weekend.
Right.
And I had to not only get as much rest in as I could, but I had to try and catch up schoolwork as well as try and get ahead.
And now, Caitlin, friends, you've got your peers. You're a young lady. I mean, you need to go out and so forth. How did you navigate that?
Yeah, so growing up, I didn't have much of a social life, but I mean, those are one of the sacrifices you just had to make. But I had, very the few close friends that I had were absolutely amazing, and they're still friends with me still till today. And for me, they understood my program, and they understood the love that I had for the sport and what my goals were. I made that clear, I think, from the beginning. I was that person that I'm like, listen, I'm gonna go to the Olympics one day.
Wow.
So
Yes.
I need to do everything I can to get there. And like, they knew they're not gonna invite me over for dinner on a random Wednesday night, because firstly, I'm coming from training and I need to sleep, and they're also not going to invite me somewhere on a Saturday morning, because they know I'm going at training. So there were the odd occasions that here and there on a weekend I would go for lunch with friends, or stay over at someone's house, and sometimes you do need that time.
You do also. I
didn't sit in my room alone all day, but I loved family time and time with my friends, but I didn't like party every weekend, and like I couldn't do that, especially also in season. And you have to, at the end of the day, do whatever you have to that is gonna help your goal. So partying every weekend was not gonna do that.
No, definitely not. So here's your mom now, single parent, and raising you to get to the upper echelons of gymnastics. We just want to give a shout out to her. Mom, you're exceptional, man. And thank you so much for investing in your child. And where you saw, I'm sure you're very proud of her. And we're proud of you, because you showed the character of a strong woman. And we really want to celebrate that. And thank you so much for giving us this beautiful gift in Caitlin. So Caitlin, from there, did you have any challenges leading up to your ultimate goal? What type of challenges did you have?
I'm like, when you said that, I'm like, I want to cry. You look back at it, and it was such an intense journey. And, very few people actually know, and the people within the gymnastics community know. And I think it's hard being a gymnast where, like, I think with any sport, but like when I step up onto that Olympic stage, and most of South Africa was watching us and see our performances, and all they see is the minute and a half, because that's how long a routine is. 1 minute 30 seconds of like amazing gymnastics.
You're describing this now. I mean, if I look at it now, from the age of 6, right through for a minute and a half.
Yeah, that's what it is. We do I think thousands of repetitions to get up on that beam and do one routine that is 1 minute 30 seconds, and to show the world. And that is all people see.
Yes.
You don't see the past 12, 13 years of blood, sweat and tears. And when I tell you blood, sweat and tears, it is blood, sweat and tears. I'll exaggerate the tears, because there is a lot of that, in gymnastics. Not because people make you cry, but because it's a hard sport. It is a hard sport, especially on your body. Can't tell you the amount of injuries I've went through.
So take me through that. What was your greatest challenge in terms of injuries?
So for me, I struggled. I had a big problem with my knee at a point. It dislocated many times, and I tried to work through it for like 2 years, and then it got to a point where.
So what's that? Is that the ACL?
The patella, your kneecap. I kept landing like skew, and then it would like dislocate, so it would come out of its socket. It would pop. So, and with that, every time it happens, it would hit like a ligament. It's called my MPFL. It's on the inside that holds it down. And because it happened so many times, it got to a point in 2017 where I ended up going back to my orthopedic surgeon, and he said that it was beyond repair. Like, not beyond repair, but it was beyond like natural repair.
What was beyond repair?
My MPFL. So it was a ligament that was supposed to hold my kneecap down. But because my kneecap had went so much, it kept hitting that ligament, hitting it, like tearing it away. And he evaluated, and he said that ligament is completely gone. It's like literally in half, shredded.
My
There's
word.
no way that it can get fixed unless I go for surgery. And it was, I mean, it's not a small surgery. It was an MPFL reconstruction. So they had to
Oh my
remake
word.
that ligament, and I was going to be out for like 9 months, which
Caitlin?
in gymnastics it's detrimental. That something like that can end your career, because especially because we at such fragile points in our life at like 15, 16, when you're going through puberty, you're growing.
Yes.
In that time, if you have a massive growth spurt and you come back, it can end your career because you've been out for too long. So we tried to avoid it for very long, but got to that point where it was, I know, we had to do it.
Right.
So in the middle of 2017, I ended up going for the surgery to reconstruct this ligament, and I started the road to recovery the rest of the 2017. And just also to say, at the beginning of 2017, I actually met the Commonwealth criteria for the Commonwealth Games in 2018.
Oh, man.
And I had to go for the surgery mid-2017, and because of that, I was denied going to the Commonwealth.
So you missed out on the Commonwealth?
Yeah, I was supposed to go in the beginning of 2018 with Naveen and my coach, and I had to stay home and still recover. And it was, for me, it was one of the biggest blows to my career, because it, just like the Olympic Games, it was on the same level of a goal.
So tell me now, because there's a lot of talk now about your people's mental health. At that time, that trauma, how did it affect you? In your mind,
I think
your emotions.
it was so challenging to deal with. I think it's the worst having to like be out. And the thing with also like a gymnast, you're not out for that time and sitting at home. Like I was on bed rest for a week after my operation.
Okay.
And then I was back in the gym. I had to come to the gym. If I was in crutches and I couldn't walk, but I had to come to the gym for at least an hour for upper body strength as well as mental like training. We do mental training. So I had to come and look at, like, you put your earphones in and you have to look at the beam and you do a routine in your head 20 times. And then you do it on bar. Like, that's what you have to do. You have to stay in the game mentally, because if you're going to sit at home every day and, it's going to go
this
out.
This is interesting,
So,
eh? Sure.
Yeah, but mentally it was really challenging to have to, like, be in the gym and I think see all your teammates progress. And like Naveen had an amazing year. She went to world championships, and she was like my best friend, and we did everything together, and I like couldn't do all of that, and I had to sit out of the Commonwealth Games, and it was hard and challenging. But I think at the time that I was in my life, and like I was very optimistic, and that's something I think about me that like people knew, but I was like
you were a fighter.
I was such a fighter. I'd not had like a previously, not that all my like years leading up to that year was easy, but for me I just felt like I'm young, it's my first surgery, like I'm gonna overcome this. I still have a lot to prove. I'm not done. I'm not letting this finish here. I still need to get to the Olympic Games, so no.
So tell me, in normal terms, how long do they give you for recovery? From that surgery.
So that surgery was a 6 to 9 month recovery. So it was like 6 months of actually recovery and nothing like on my knee, and then I think from 6 to 9 months I was allowed to slowly start like, so I think like jumping and then progressively running and all of that stuff. So
you were on crutches?
Yeah, for 6 weeks.
Was there a cast on? Not a
No,
cast. Okay. So when did you get off the crutches? For 6 weeks.
Yeah.
After 6 weeks.
So I was both crutches 4 weeks, and then I was moved to one crutch for 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then from there your rehabilitation started.
Once I was off the crutches and you could start walking. But like I had one of, I think, the best knee orthopedic surgeons in Johannesburg. He was amazing, but his way of recovery for me was one of the most brutal. Not like I think, but it worked. For him, I was on bed rest for that week, but he didn't put me in a brace or anything. I just had a compression stocking for my swelling. Okay. But my 1 week post-op, I had to come back to him and show him that I could bend my knee past 90 by myself.
Wow.
And it was insane, because I can't tell you how painful it was. excruciating. And I remember that first week I hadn't actually met that. I think I could only go to 90 with like help. I couldn't even do it by myself. And he said to me, it's not on. You need to, because I think he also understood the importance of my goal.
Yes,
and that
yes.
we had goals that the next year I wanted to be back in this month at this competition.
Yes.
And if that was going to happen, this knee needed to
Yes.
get bending.
Is it your right knee?
It was my left.
Your left knee. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, but after that I worked also viciously with my physios and my biokineticists and my physiotherapists. I mean, my psychologists. We did so much work, and they were.
So that's also where the expense comes in.
Yes, it's all the medical costs. It's the physio. It's the bio. It's the psychologist. It's everything.
And that bill you have to feed yourself.
Yeah, that had to come at that point in our careers. That had to come from us.
Okay.
But like I say at that point, because at the point we are at now, we senior Olympic gymnasts, Olympians, and we've gotten to a point where the federation like basically covers everything for us.
Okay, the South African Gymnastics Federation. Okay,
they, now at senior Olympic level and Olympians, like we finally like get that privilege where they cover out travel, like if I like. Actually, now that just before the Olympics, I picked up an ankle injury, and I needed to go for.
Man.
That's only one of many. I've struggled with my feet for so many years, but I had to go for like an MRI. I had to get platelets. An MRI, just so if everyone knows, is 7,000 rand.
Yes, yes.
So
yes, yes.
I had to like get platelet treatment. I had to get cortisone. I had to get so much, and like. That would come out of our pocket, but then they would reimburse us.
All right.
So you see, I think it's nice now that, we're reaping the rewards, and we can, we have help, and we know we're not alone. But like coming up, I think, and that's why so much of the talent gets lost along the way, because a lot of the parents can't keep up with it.
No, you can't. I can just imagine.
You on your own. Quite frankly, the only help we had coming up was from our club. So JGC Gymnastics, we had a fundraising committee where we just did fundraising every year. So much events to help fund for, like, pay 70% of each gymnast travel fees. Those type, but the rest, the parents had to come with. And, there's a few fighters like my mom and a few of the parents who really, like, made the ultimate sacrifice. My mom, like, made so many fast sacrifices, not only within her life, but financially to get me here. And there's so many people and parents who can't keep up with that. And you lose so much good talent because of that.
Wow.
And there's already, as you've heard, so little gymnasts.
There's so little gymnasts.
Already we start off as such a little group, and then not 80% of them fall out. And like, that's I say, like, from the group we started, we were about maybe 10, 11, and it's literally Naveen and I left.
Wow.
Out of everyone.
Wow.
We've lost all of them, and
sure.
Like they are in the senior group now, they are like almost 10 people, but that's from like, they're younger than us. They're already the upcoming.
So they're the upcoming ones. Okay.
Like
so there's potential there.
Yes. No,
okay.
there is a lot of upcoming potential, and like our junior Olympic gymnasts are really brilliant, and I'm excited to see what they will, do for us. But yeah, it's...
So do you think, without putting you on the spot, do you think there's enough money coming from SASCOC or the Olympic Committee or the government itself toward gymnastics?
No.
Not.
No. Again, and this is, I think, like, this is something I'm quite passionate about, and
right.
Like, I don't think there is, and I think my biggest frustration is someone that is very, like, uneducated about gymnastics coming to me and asking me, like, did I beat Simone Biles? I think we all know who Simone Biles is,
yes,
right?
we do, yes.
And I want to roll my eyes to the back of my head, not because I don't have faith in myself, because
yes.
people are like, you need to believe in yourself. I'm like, it's not about that.
Yes.
And I tell them, if I must give you perspective, the USA Gymnastics has more money.
You can't even compare.
You
can't.
They have more money within gymnastics in USA than South Africa has combined with all their sports.
Yes,
that's
correct.
Just the perspective I'm giving you. So
correct.
They have everything. They have the money. They have the corporate sponsorship. They have the government support. They have everything. They get paid to be gymnasts.
Yes.
It's a career. Like
and I mean, to come on the same platform
as them.
is already an achievement.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying?
No, definitely.
With the little resources that you have.
Yes.
That's a major achievement. And so I could understand that frustration.
No, it is. It's a big one. And that's always what I say. Like, I'm very grateful for what we've had. And
yes.
We haven't had a lot of like an enormous amount of support getting to where we are, and we don't have the world-class facilities to train on, and but we've made it to the Olympic stage. And we've ranked within the middle third of the full Olympic pack. And to say, like, for me, it's mind-blowing, considering if you look at what we have and the resources and the little support we've gotten. We've had immense support from our federation and support here and there now, like only now from the Department of Sport, but it's not nearly enough, for what we need. And like I said, gymnastics is such an expensive sport, sadly. But yeah, so it's hard, but I think I'm very proud of the progress that gymnastics South Africa has made as a whole.
Okay.
Over the past few years, it's been incredible.
So just to put this in perspective, so now South Africa was represented in gymnastics, the last in 2004. Okay, so 3 Olympics passed and we didn't have a South African representative. So 2008, 2012, 2016. Here comes 2020, which they moved over to 21 because of this COVID thing. and I'm sure that was a setback for you as well, because now you're gearing up for the Olympics in 2020 and yet it's not happening.
No, I can't. For me, that whole setback was very hard mentally. One of the biggest mental, I think, challenges I had to get through was the whole postponement. And I think for many athletes, I look at, and I went through a very low moment, like in the beginning of the year, because I was in an amazing place at the beginning of 2020. After my qualification in 2019, I was
So when did you qualify for the Olympics?
In October of 2019 at the World Championships.
So this is 2019. We're looking at, you had the surgery middle 2017. It took you 9 months to recover.
Yeah.
Right? So you in the middle of 2018, you okay now?
I had an amazing year in 2018. Despite not going to the Commonwealth, I ended up winning my first national title. I won a senior national title that year.
Whoa.
I attended my first World Championships. I reached a lot of heights. I defended my bar title at the African Championships.
And this is after your surgery.
So I really had a good year.
Awesome.
I carried on that energy into 2019, where I won my first international medal. I qualified at the end of the year for the games, and then on top of the world, just finished matric. I did really well in matric despite the hard year that it was. Came into 2020 and I was like pumped.
I'm going to do this thing.
I was in peak physical form. I was in amazing mental shape. I was ready to take the Olympics on in 6 months, and then it got moved. And I think I was like still so motivated to stay in it physically, but didn't realize how hard mentally it was. The break that we were out the gym for like 4 months because of COVID. And as a gymnast, as you know, it can be detrimental to you, but we did everything we can to stay fit in that time with what we could. We did a lot of fitness training and all of that.
At home now?
At home.
Yeah,
at home, online fitness training.
Right.
Strength and like flexibility, because that's all we could do. Couldn't really do anything else. And I got back into the gym in like July and started working again. Everything was like good. But at the beginning of 2021, like I struggled so much, like mentally to, I actually.
What were you struggling? What would you say mentally? Is this thing going to happen? Or what were you struggling with?
I think a big part of it was the uncertainty.
Yes.
It was eating at a lot of us to know, like,
because the Olympics was on, then it was off. Then it was
back on, but we didn't know was it really going to stay on.
Yes.
So there was a lot of uncertainty about that, and that was eating at a lot of us. But I think something that we didn't even realize was the exhaustion.
Yes.
We were mentally, like, I felt finished. I remember like saying to my coach at the beginning of this year, we had our trials we actually had like the African Champs team. At the beginning, it was in April.
Okay.
And we were preparing, and like I'd picked up, it was a minor shoulder injury. I got over it in like a month, and then I injured my feet, re-injured it, like again, like another 4-week thing that I had to work through. And like I felt finished. I said to it 2 weeks before my trials for that I don't know how I'm going to do this. I feel like I don't want to be here, and that is the last thing you want to hear from a gymnast that's supposed to be at the Olympic Games in under 6 months.
Wow.
So it was a really hard stage, and I was seeing a psychologist to also understand what was going on in my brain. But I think the biggest part of it was just exhaustion.
While you saying that, I can actually feel that emotion.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That of, must I do this again?
Yeah, it is. I think you got a lot of people don't realize the toll it takes that like COVID took on us mentally. I didn't even realize it. We all thought we were fine.
Sure.
We were like back in the gym, we were ready to work again. We were working hard. Came into this year, we were like, no, it's the Olympic year. We're gonna, spirits up. We're still going at it, and it feels like every day is so long. And I think just the thought of the fact that the Olympics was supposed to happen already. I was supposed to be done with the Olympics.
Yes.
I was supposed to be starting studying, and I was supposed to be resting. And
Because now after matric, you took a gap year, and then the Olympics supposed to be the next year.
Yes.
And now the Olympics doesn't
And
happen.
it wasn't happening.
So do I go study? What? So now you went for the Olympics. Okay, we prepare for 2021.
Yeah.
Now only you can say, okay, right, next year I'm starting to study.
Yeah.
So all that
Yeah.
emotion, the decision making, and
Yes.
so forth, it's traumatic.
It
Yeah,
was. No,
yeah.
it was. And like I said, a lot of people, not even ourselves, realized how much it was doing to us, but it was a low moment and point, but I got through that. And also once my ankles healed and I was in a better space physically, I picked up again. And I think once we got closer to the games and it started sounding more solid,
Yes.
and we getting confirmation from the IOC that it was happening,
Yes.
with or without COVID,
It's
we were gonna
happening.
go.
Yes.
And I think that also helped us to gear up back again, and we started preparing. And I think it was like 2 years and more of so much pressure,
Yes.
you're working under constant pressure every day. And it's just also the thought that, the Olympics, it's right there, but you have to walk into the gym every day so focused and so under pressure to not get injured, because
And that's,
that eats at you. And that if you do a wrong move today and land funny, and you out the games.
You out the games.
And
You
that
out.
was not a possibility. Not after the year that we had.
Oh man.
So, and not after how hard we had worked to qualify.
So
finally.
so then after those lows and the pressure and so forth, you go into the games.
Yeah.
Your flights are booked. On the day you're going to leave with all the other athletes, what's that feeling like?
It was so real. I think it really was. And I think it started getting more and more real and realistic when we started receiving the emails of our flight tickets and
Right.
our accommodation and all of that. So you get that and you start seeing oh my word, this is literally happening.
Yeah.
This is something I had a lot of moments where it was self-reflection moments of this, I'm living out my dream.
Yes.
This
yes.
was something I've been trying to get to my entire life, and
This was the mental picture I've painted, and I'm here now.
I'm here,
Yeah.
So it was incredible, and I just to also give you a bit of perspective of how this went. But so we had the African Championships. That's when Naveen qualified.
Right.
And I went. It was in Egypt, and I went with. Not that I knew, because I already qualified, but I went with as a preparation competition for myself.
Okay.
So I wasn't competing officially. I was kind of competing unofficially just for experience, especially after the long break of COVID and we hadn't competed for a while. So I wanted international experience. So I went and I was in amazing shape. I was doing well, and I was first up on the first event at the competition and landed my vault and felt something go in my ankle.
Man.
I'm not even lying. I think
No,
people
man.
are going to think I'm crazy, but like, and I can't even explain that moment to you where this is 2 months before the games, and I thought the worst. I was like, I've broken my foot, and like, I've messed it up. It's done. And I just walked off. I limped off. I tried to walk off normally, and this was being broadcasted. So you don't.
Yeah, you don't want to.
You don't
I
want to
hear
also,
you.
I think, cause panic. Because
Yes.
also our parents were watching, and you don't want to cause panic in people when maybe it's not that serious.
Yeah.
So try to keep it together and just walk off camera, and
Yeah.
I'm biting on my teeth. So. But I sat down, and like then this flood of pain just rushed, and it was so sore. And then I did bar, because bar was on my hands.
Yeah.
So it was not anything on my feet. And then my coach pulled me out of the rest of the comp, because also that wasn't important for me. I didn't need to compete. And the priority was the Olympic Games. I needed to get there. So when I went for x-rays that same day, and the x-rays came back clear. So that was a big relief. But we were monitoring my foot, and by the evening I couldn't walk on it at all.
So what was your ankle?
My ankle, yeah. My ankle was this big. It was blue. It was puffy. We were like, it looked like it could have been broken, but it wasn't broken because the x-ray said it was fine. So I was like, I don't know if I'm crazy or and I was actually supposed to stay on for another World Cup with Naveen as another preparation. But my coach decided to send me home early, like a week and a half early, which was sad. I missed that competition. But because, like said, the most important thing was to get to the Olympics.
Right.
So we needed to start my recovery to try and see what was actually going on.
Yeah.
So I flew back and immediately went to my physician and did a sonar and looked at it. And it was like multiple things. It was like bone bruising. It was fluid. It was an impingement. So like, I don't know, like something knocked in my ankle when I landed, and then there was fluid in my ankle, and I also had a grade 2 tear. So it was a ligament tear in the front of my ankle. It doesn't make sense still till today, because I landed normally. And that's when my mother says that's the work of the devil.
Yes.
Because it wasn't as if...
Because you can't explain it.
You can't even... people ask me, what did you do? And I'm like, I landed.
Yeah.
It was fine. I landed so
Like I
normally.
always land.
Like I always land.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened in my
I
foot.
didn't twist it or anything.
I didn't land like rolled under.
Yeah.
So it was the most odd thing. But anyway, this was now just under 8 weeks to the games. And I'm supposed to be gearing up, not recovering from an injury.
Hey, Caitlin.
I can't tell you the frustration, but I started, those 8 weeks leading up to the games was one of, I think, the hardest 8 weeks of my life. It was excruciating. It was, I went for platelets, so that's when they inject your own blood into your ankle, into the ligament, to make your healing speed up. And I went for cortisone for the pain, because I did the platelets, and then it was like 4 weeks, and we thought like I was going to start, like I could have started, and I still couldn't. I was still in such excruciating pain. And that's when we went back to the physician, and he said that, okay, he can give me cortisone. So I got cortisone injected into my ankle, and it within a week, my pain started easing. And I literally, people won't even believe me when I say I literally started training properly maybe 2 weeks before we left.
What?
Before that, I was still limping. That's how bad it was. And,
And now you have to, because now in the training, just that 2 weeks, you like, oh my God, I better just land properly.
Yeah.
Because now it's
already fragile.
It's already fragile, yes.
No, literally. And that was the thing. It was not only was the one part of me, I'm like, I'm literally leaving for the Olympic Games in 2 weeks, and I've done like nothing in the past 4 weeks, which was such a stress for me. But at the same time, I'm like, I can't like land funny and make this worse again.
Yes.
So every movement was calculated. And I remember actually right after Egypt, my coach was so distraught after what had happened, and came back, and she was like so upset, and she was feeling very demotivated. And I actually said to her that like, I felt that God didn't bring me this far to only bring me this far.
Hey, come on.
I did not go through all of this just let it end here. There was no ways, and I remember like it was, I think 4 weeks before we left, we were still in the gym, and my teammates literally asked me, because they were like, when are you going to start training? You're leaving for the Olympics in 4 weeks. And I said, listen guys, like I was stressing inside, but I said to them, like, I actually wasn't stressing, because I just felt that God's got it under control.
That's where the faith kicks in.
I had so much faith. I just felt that like there was no use in me stressing about this. It wasn't going to help my recovery, so, and I had decided I was going to be at those games. So I didn't know how, because at that point I was still limping, but I was like, we're going to see, and I mean, look what happened. I got to the games, and I still had to do a lot of protective training. So it's like I was still doing things with help. So my coach had to still help me on landing, and I was doing things with extra mats to just protect it. And I actually did a proper full competition only on the competition day, and I did my personal best.
Wow!
Performance ever.
So
it was I think a big journey of faith for me, and it was a lot of trusting that I had to not only do in God and everything, but in myself. I had to trust myself. Like I woke up I prayed every night, and I woke up every day, and I said like, trust the process.
Yes. Man.
I need to just, as stressful as it was, and because I mean, at the end of the day, it's not the ideal preparation that anyone wants to have for the Olympic Games. You don't want to be limping 4 weeks before you have to leave.
Caitlin, I tell you in my next sermon, I promise you, because this is just, there's so many things one can take from this in life, in your normal walk. So many things you can take out of this. This is a great testimony of yours. So tell me now, just take me through shortly the experience walking onto that platform in terms of, I have to do my routine now. So what was the first routine you did?
That one right there. That picture was just before my first, so it was beam.
It was beam. And okay.
And for all the non-gymnasts that don't know, that is probably one of the worst apparatus to start on.
Okay.
It's the worst, because going into the competition, you have a lot of adrenaline. You have you have power, and it's good to start on an app like Vault, on floor or bar, where you let that power boost you. But on an apparatus like Beam, which is all about balance and control and serenity, that adrenaline does not help you. That adrenaline throws you off the beam.
Okay.
So it's a big mental game, I think, to start on Beam and have to, after the warm-up and all the adrenaline rush and the walk into the arena, to bring yourself back, and like it's you and the beam. And after you present, you almost like, people ask me, what do you think? And I'm like, it's an autopilot switch.
Right.
It's almost like I can't even tell you what I think. I don't know.
Because look, you're coming in, South African representative, Olympic Games, there's billions of people watching, but now you with this beam.
Yeah, and it's you and that beam. And that's the thing, I think one of the big things you also learn over the years is that for you to have usually a successful performance, all of that stuff, all those pressures, there's literally, we're at the games, just to give you the beams here, there's a camera here, you can see the cameras all around you.
Right.
And you need to just center yourself with this beam. And the only way that can happen, you have to block everything else out.
Wow.
And you think, in that moment, I feel like I can remember that moment. I was looking at there's a screen where you wait, your name is, so it's Caitlin Rooskrantz, and then it says wait, and you have to wait for a green light that says go, and then you present to the judges and you do your routine.
Right.
So it's in that moment when I'm waiting, and your mind wants to run, and like, oh my word, I'm at the Olympics, I'm literally going, I'm like, this is crazy, but you have to like at the end of the day, it's just another routine. I've done this a million times. I've done literally probably almost 1 million repetitions of this routines over the years.
Wow.
It's just one more. That's how you kind of need to play yourself. It's just one more routine. It's nothing I haven't done before.
Yes.
And just you focus on your breathing, you listening to your heart to slow down your heart rate, to bring that adrenaline down. And when I present and I start that routine, it's autopilot.
It just goes.
It's like it's second nature. I don't even have to think. I just go with it, and then before you know it's done. And
Yeah.
then I just competed in my first apparatus at the Olympic Games, and I think
Man.
it was an on top of the world moment for me.
Yes.
So beam is my, I don't want to say worst apparatus, but
Okay.
I dislike it the most.
Okay.
I don't
Okay.
like beam.
Okay.
And we've had a hate-love relationship over the years,
Right.
me and beam. It's very bad. But so for me to have started on beam, and I stayed on the beam, had a really good routine, and like to start my Olympic Games off like that was everything I needed. I got
Wow.
off there and I was like, I'm ready
Yes.
to take it on.
Yeah.
I'm ready. And the rest was history. I
And so
enjoyed.
what did you do after that? Which
Floor.
apparatus? Floor?
Floor was next.
Okay, and then?
And then vault.
Okay, vault.
And then bar, my favorite.
And then your bar.
I ended on my favorite apparatus.
Oh wow, man!
Yeah,
and so in the competition, with the results, how do you feel? Like, okay, you did your personal best, and how did you compete with the other athletes from the other countries? Would you say in grading, where did you guys come?
I know what the exact result was,
Okay.
but it was I know my coach said we placed within the middle third
Okay.
of everyone that competed.
Right.
So
So yourself and
Naveen.
and Naveen. Okay.
So I placed, like, my scores, it was my highest international score, so which
Beautiful.
was amazing, and I was really happy with that, considering also the journey to get there and
Yes.
how sketchy that foot was. But
Yeah.
I also placed the top of all the African gymnasts.
Wow, we're so
So,
proud of you, man.
yeah,
That's
big
awesome.
achievement,
Awesome, great achievement.
Yeah, I was really happy and over the moon. And one thing our coach said to us, like leaving for the games, was you need to take in and enjoy every moment.
Yes.
Because it's going to go
Yes.
by in the blink of an eye.
Yes.
And you can't look back and have regrets. And I think it's hard because for us as gymnasts, we are such perfectionists. And we want everything to go perfect. And you have one bad training session and you are upset. And
Yes.
or the comp doesn't go your way and you're upset. And it's like that with every athlete. But, that was something that Naveen and I made an agreement to, that going into the comp, that whether this competition was going to be the worst competition of our lives or it was going to be the best, we were going to enjoy it and you're going
Yes.
to take it in. And I had many moments in that competition day where it was, this setup actually reminds me of the arena. It was also blue.
Okay.
It was a themed blue and white. So I'm like
Okay.
reminiscing, but the lights are so bright. And I had moments where I would just if I was waiting for my turn to go, I'd just stand and look up and
Take it in.
Take it in, and you
Yes.
see all the Tokyo 2020 and all the Olympic rings everywhere. And I'm like, I'm speaking to baby Caitlin in my head, and I'm like, we did it.
Oh,
We
man.
really did it.
No, that's awesome. We really, really proud of you again. I want to say, Caitlin, tell me, going forward now, are you looking at 2024?
Yes, I am.
You are.
Yeah.
Okay. So you want to get to the next Olympics.
Yeah, so the next Commonwealth, which is next year.
Okay, this
is-
Commonwealth next
yes,
year.
And that's also obviously a big goal for me, considering
Okay.
I haven't been to one yet.
Yes.
So I'm definitely trying to make my debut at the Commonwealth Games. And then, it's 3 years to Paris,
3 years,
2024.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it's now.
And look, you've got, because the Olympics was late, you've got less time to prepare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But me and Naveen are both set on still going another cycle, so going until the 2024 Olympics. And then we'll reevaluate and see. And I love the sport, and
Yes.
as long as my body lets me, firstly, my body can cooperate,
Yes.
then I'll be here, and as long as I'm still, I think, inspiring a generation beneath, I will
Powerful.
continue to go.
We just want to give a shout out to all the coaches, your coaches, since the age of 5 right up to now, those that prepared you for this journey to the Olympics. Your coach, that's your current coach now. Thank you so much for all your hard work and for seeing the potential in Caitlin and also Naveen. Thank you so much, and we appreciate everything that you are doing. South Africa, Gymnastics South Africa, thank you so much for all your hard work, even if you don't get all the funds coming in. We believe that you're gonna go to higher heights, and we really appreciate you for that. Then I want to say to you, Caitlin, also with Naveen. You make us so proud because you are a woman of color, and it's a rare feat for women of color to in the sporting arena, to have such to reach such great heights. And we want to say thank you so much, and we are immensely proud of you. Again, we'll reiterate that. And thank you so much for your personality that you have, the drive that you have, man, the passion that you have. And for closing, I just want to allow you to give some remarks to people out there, the generation that you aspire, that you inspiring. Give them a message and tell them, look, what can they look forward to?
I think my biggest thing, especially looking at baby Caitlin, like I just said, we wanted, and we looked at the generation above us with that aspiration also to go to the Olympics, and we wanted to see them do it. And we didn't get to see them do it. And it was hard to have this big dream of going to the Tokyo Olympic Games with not having seen anyone done it before. It was like this felt like sometimes this unrealistic dream. And I'm so happy that me together with Naveen, we've shown the upcoming generation of gymnasts that it is possible. It's not an unrealistic dream, and your hard work will pay off, and getting to the Olympics, and it's worth everything. There's very few that know my full story and how hectic and challenging it was, and many of the challenges that I faced. But I look back now as an Olympian, and it was all worth it. And I think I would all do it again for that moment right there, standing on the Olympic stage. So, keep at that goal and keep working hard and keep the faith.
Yeah, beautiful, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Caitlin. We really appreciate your time and the effort, and we wish you all the best for 2022 for the Commonwealth Games, and then also for the Olympics in 2024, which is going to be in Paris.
Yes.
Oh, you have to go to Paris. So thank you so much. Thanks for watching, and thank you for tuning in. Share this link with friends and family. Real inspirational story from Caitlin Rooskrantz, and enjoy your weekend and have a good time. God bless you. Bless up.